Have you ever considered who the very first inhabitants of America were? When did their journey begin, and from where did they originate? For centuries, these questions have captivated scientists. Now, an astonishing discovery in Oregon is reshaping our understanding, pushing back the timeline of human history in America by millennia. This revelation is truly mind-boggling. Nestled deep within Oregon's high desert lies Rimrock Draw, a natural rock shelter carved into a cliff face. This isn't just an ordinary cave, it guards secrets nearly 20,000 years old. The evidence unearthed here establishes it as the earliest known human dwelling in North America, surpassing all previously discovered sites. What archaeologists found within its confines has forever altered historical narratives. The story commenced in 2009, when archaeologist Scott Thomas, en route to another excavation with supplies, spotted an unusual formation. A line of rocks protruding through sagebrush and exceptionally tall grass. This immediately piqued his interest, as deep soil, indicated by lush growth, often conceals ancient artifacts. Surface finds included stone spearheads, approximately 8,000 years old. But Thomas had no inkling of the truly ancient treasures lying beneath. In 2011, a team from the University of Oregon, led by Dr. Patrick O'Grady, initiated a meticulous excavation. With tools deployed and grids marked, they began carefully sifting through the earth, inch by inch. The shelter itself was modest, around 10 feet deep and 65 feet long. But its strategic location next to a former stream made it an ideal ancient encampment, offering both water and refuge. The age of its inhabitants, however, remained a mystery. For a long time, the prevailing theory held that the Clovis people, arriving about 13,000 years ago, were the first Americans. Scientists believe they journeyed from Asia to America via a land bridge called Beringia, which once linked the two continents. The hypothesis suggested that massive ice sheets covered much of North America, but an ice-free corridor between them provided a pathway for the Clovis people to traverse and eventually disperse across the continent. This was the widely accepted narrative. However, a significant flaw emerged. Subsequent research indicated that this ice corridor only became accessible about 12,000 years ago. Furthermore, even once open, it was a desolate, frozen wasteland devoid of plant or animal life. Nothing to sustain travelers. This rendered the idea of the Clovis people utilizing it impossible, effectively debunking the entire theory. Then, other sites began to surface. First was the Meadowcroft Rock Shelter in Pennsylvania, revealing tools and hearths dating back 16,000 years, a staggering 3,000 years pre-Clovis. Following this, Cooper's Ferry in Idaho also yielded artifacts from 16,000 years ago. These discoveries fundamentally proved human presence in America before the ice corridor opened. A new hypothesis then emerged. Ancient peoples navigated the Pacific coast by boat, a concept known as the Kelp Highway theory. The coastal environment was abundant with food sources like seals, fish, shellfish, and extensive kelp forests, allowing travelers to sustain themselves as they paddled south. This theory offered a logical explanation. Yet, Rimrock Draw was poised to deliver an even greater shock. In 2012, while excavating approximately 8 feet deep, the team discovered fragments of a camel tooth. While camels in Oregon might sound improbable, these animals actually originated in North America millions of years ago, evolving there before migrating to Asia and Africa. In America, they became extinct around 13,000 years ago. These weren't small camels. They were massive Camelops hesternus, standing 7 feet tall at the shoulder and weighing nearly 2,000 pounds, larger than any living camel species today. Capable of running 40 miles per hour, these giants were hunted by the ancient inhabitants of Rimrock Draw. Proof of this hunting came from cut marks on the camel bones, indicative of human butchery. This wasn't a natural death. It was a meal, prepared by human hands. What makes this even more remarkable is that the camel tooth was found beneath a layer of volcanic ash. In archaeology, volcanic ash acts as a natural time marker. Each volcanic eruption possesses a unique chemical signature, allowing scientists to pinpoint its origin and exact timing. This particular ash originated from Mount St. Helens, not the famous 1980 eruption, but a much older one, occurring 15,600 years ago. The ash had entombed the camel tooth, preserving it like a time capsule. This means anything beneath the ash must predate 15,600 years. The camel tooth, therefore, had to be older. To ascertain its precise age, scientists employed radiocarbon dating on its enamel. The results were astounding. The tooth was 18,250 years old. To reiterate, 18,250 years old. More than 5,000 years older than the presumed arrival of the Clovis people. This completely reshaped previous understandings. In scientific parlance, such dates are expressed as years before present, BP, rather than years ago. This is because the year 1950 serves as the baseline, coinciding with the invention of radiocarbon dating and the onset of nuclear testing, which affected atmospheric carbon levels. So, 18,250 BP signifies 18,250 years before 1950. A crucial detail in understanding the scientific methodology. Beyond the camel tooth, the team unearthed stone tools, meticulously crafted from orange agate. These tools are significant for three primary reasons. Firstly, agate, with its glass-like fracture, allows for the creation of incredibly sharp edges, making it highly prized by ancient peoples. Secondly, this specific orange agate is not found anywhere near Rimrock Draw. The nearest sources are over 100 miles away. This implies that these early inhabitants either undertook extensive journeys for raw materials or engaged in trade with other groups, demonstrating their intelligence and organizational capabilities. The tools themselves were scrapers, versatile implements with multiple cutting edges, akin to ancient multi-tools. Remarkably, residue analysis on one of these scrapers revealed ancient proteins, bison blood from an extinct species. How blood proteins survive for 18,000 years is fascinating. They become trapped within microscopic cracks in the stone, shielded from bacterial decay and sunlight, almost like a fossilized imprint. This was irrefutable evidence that these tools were used to butcher large animals. These ancient bison were colossal, standing up to 7.5 feet tall, and weighing 3,500 pounds, with horns spanning 3 feet. Another scraper, found even deeper within the ash layer, indicated it was even older than the camel tooth. The site also yielded 68 stone spearheads, representing various styles and time periods, ranging from 7,000 to 13,000 years old, with the deepest ones being the most ancient. Further discoveries included tiny blade fragments, stone cores from which flakes were struck, and even waste material from tool production. This was not merely a temporary stop. People lived here for extended periods, manufacturing and repairing tools, making it a home. Perhaps the most unsettling discovery was human hair, not just a few strands, but at least 29 samples from at least distinct individuals. Preserved in clay, the hair ends were natural, suggesting these people had never encountered metal scissors. Imagine holding a strand of hair from someone who lived 18,000 years ago. A truly astonishing thought. Consider the world these people inhabited. It was a realm of colossal creatures, not just camels and bison. The Oregon Desert teemed with megafauna, now extinct. Columbian mammoths, towering 13 feet and weighing 10 tons, roamed the landscape. Mastodons browsed in wetland forests, alongside giant ground sloths, dire wolves, and the most terrifying predator of all, the short-faced bear, standing 11 feet tall on its hind legs and capable of outrunning a horse. an encounter with which was likely fatal. Saber-toothed cats, multiple species of ancient horses, and herds of enormous bison also populated this environment. For the residents of Rimrock Draw, these animals were providers of food, clothing, and tools, but also sources of immense danger. Hunting a 2,000-pound camel with stone-tipped spears demanded extraordinary courage and skill. Visualize the environment during the last glacial maximum, the peak of the Ice Age. Temperatures were 10 degrees Fahrenheit colder than today, and ocean levels were 400 feet lower. Vast ice sheets blanketed Canada and parts of the northern United States. However, Oregon remained ice-free, instead experiencing cold, wet conditions. Glaciers adorned the mountains, and their meltwater forged immense lakes across the desert. Lake Fort Rock spanned 751 square miles, while Lake Chelan was even larger and 375 feet deep. The landscape was dramatically different, with forests of pine, spruce, and juniper growing at lower elevations. Animals typically found in high mountains today once inhabited the valleys. Adjacent to Rimrock Draw flowed a permanent stream, providing year-round fresh water. For ancient peoples, this was an ideal haven: shelter, water, and abundant herds of large game. The stream flowed for millennia, eventually transforming into a marsh. Then, approximately 7,600 years ago, a catastrophic event occurred: the eruption of Mount Mazama, now known as Crater Lake, a colossal explosion that reshaped the landscape. Ash coated vast expanses for hundreds of miles, leading to the prompt desertion of Rimrock Draw. Its inhabitants departed and never returned. The key to establishing Rimrock Draw's ancient origins lies in stratigraphy, a scientific discipline focused on rock layers. This field operates on a fundamental principle. In undisturbed soil, the deepest materials are the oldest, much like a layered cake. The volcanic ash is definitively 15,600 years old. Beneath this ash layer, a camel tooth was discovered, indicating it predates 15,600 years. Subsequent testing revealed its age to be 18,250 years. However, tools were unearthed even deeper, below the camel tooth and all other finds, signifying their existence prior to 18,250 years ago. Therefore, Rimrock Draw is not merely old. It represents the earliest confirmed human settlement in North America, predating the Clovis culture by over 5,000 years. Let that remarkable span of 5,000 years sink in. Some scientific professionals postulate that Rimrock Draw could be even older, possibly 20,000 years or more. This hypothesis stems from the fact that the 18,250-year date is derived from the camel tooth, yet the tools were located beneath it. The tooth, consequently, is not the most ancient artifact within the shelter. In archaeological practice, dating an animal bone to approximate the age of an artifact provides a minimum age, a no earlier than benchmark. If the camel lay there 18,250 years ago, then the underlying tools must have been deposited before that time. The precise duration preceding this remains unknown. As researchers continue to analyze more artifacts, particularly tools exhibiting blood residue, a clearer understanding will emerge. Nevertheless, it is unequivocal that these individuals inhabited Oregon during the harshest phase of the Ice Age, when glaciers were most expansive and survival most demanding. Yet, they endured. How did these early inhabitants sustain themselves? They traversed the landscape in small groups, perhaps 20 to 50 individuals, trailing animal herds and gathering plant resources, functioning as hunter-gatherers. The rock shelter offered refuge from the elements. It is likely they suspended animal hides from the overhang and potentially constructed internal structures using wooden posts and sewn skins to enhance comfort. Their weaponry was sophisticated. They employed an atlatl, a spear thrower that acted as a wooden lever, extending the arm's reach and enabling spears to be launched 150 feet at 80 miles per hour, a significant improvement over simple arm throwing. This innovation allowed them to hunt perilous animals from a safer distance. Their attire, fashioned from animal hides, included fur parkas, leather leggings, and boots. The presence of bone needles at the site suggests they sewed their garments, a necessity for survival in such frigid conditions. Their diet was diverse, encompassing seeds, berries, and roots in addition to meat. Juniper seeds, chokecherries, and bulrush were among the foraged items, indicating they consumed whatever was available. Not everyone accepts the ancient dating of rimrock draw. Some scientists maintain skepticism, offering valid justifications. Dr. Donald Grayson of the University of Washington articulated this concern. No one is going to believe this until we're sure the artifacts didn't move downward through the soil. This worry is legitimate, as objects can gradually descend through Earth over millennia due to freeze-thaw cycles, animal burrowing, and tree root displacement. Could the tools have originated at a higher elevation and migrated downwards? The rimrock draw team asserts otherwise, providing substantial evidence. They have dated numerous samples, including camel teeth, bison teeth, charcoal, and sediment, all yielding consistent ages. Furthermore, blood from extinct animals has been identified on the tools, and the volcanic ash layer remains undisturbed. The presence of orange agate, which is not naturally occurring in the area, confirms human transport. The evidence is compelling. Dr. O'Grady, the team leader, acknowledges the need to publish their comprehensive research, a task currently underway. A detailed paper was anticipated in 2023, and although it is still being prepared, the scientific community is keenly awaiting its release. What implications does rimrock draw hold for us? It fundamentally reconfigures American history. For decades, the prevailing belief was that the first Americans arrived 13,000 years ago via an ice corridor. Both notions are now obsolete. Instead, people reached this continent at least 18,250 years ago, potentially 20,000 years or beyond. Their probable route was by boat along the Pacific coast. They inhabited the land during the Ice Age, hunting camels, bison, and horses, and crafting exquisite stone tools. They not only survived, but flourished in one of Earth's most formidable environments. Rimrock Draw transcends a mere archaeological site. It serves as a profound link to our deepest past. Native American tribes in the region possess oral traditions recounting these ancient eras, tales of immense floods and colossal animals. Scientific advancements are now corroborating the veracity of these narratives. The excavation is complete, and analysis is ongoing. Should the dates withstand peer review, Rimrock Draw will be definitively recognized as the oldest human settlement in North America. The initial inhabitants of America were not who we once imagined. They were older, more resilient, and more innovative than previously conceived. Thus, when you next consult a map of America, remember this. Long before Columbus, long before the Vikings, and even long before the Clovis people, others existed. The inaugural Americans resided in places like Rimrock Draw, pursuing colossal camels beneath Ice Age skies. They were here first, and their chronicle is only just now beginning to unfold. Thank you for viewing. If this narrative captivated you, please like this video and subscribe for more awe-inspiring discoveries from antiquity. Leave a comment below with your thoughts. Do you believe humans inhabited America even prior to 20,000 years ago? Share this video with anyone who cherishes history.